in a week already thick with political tension. A Texas Democrat has stepped into the national spotlight, igniting a firestorm that's reverberating from the halls of Congress to the living rooms of everyday Americans. The target of this political inferno, none other than former President Donald Trump and what's being called his latest election scheme. The story unfolding is not just about politics, it's about the very soul of American democracy, and the stakes could not be higher. It all began with a press conference that was supposed to be routine. Cameras flashed, reporters shuffled their notes, and the air was heavy with anticipation. But no one was prepared for the verbal onslaught that was about to erupt. Representative Maria Gonzalez, a rising star in the Texas Democratic Party, took the podium with a calm, steely resolve. Her eyes scanned the crowd, her voice unwavering as she began to speak. "This is not just about one man," she declared. "It's about the future of our country. It's about whether we allow lies and manipulation to decide our elections, or whether we stand up and say, 'Enough.'" The room fell silent. Gonzalez, known for her passionate advocacy and sharp intellect, was about to deliver a message that would ripple across the nation. She laid out in painstaking detail what she called Trump's election scheme, a coordinated effort, she alleged, to undermine the integrity of the upcoming election through misinformation, intimidation, and legal maneuvering. Her words were not just accusations. They were a call to arms, a demand for accountability in a time when trust in the system feels more fragile than ever. As she spoke, Gonzalez painted a vivid picture of what she described as a shadow campaign, orchestrated by Trump and his allies to sow doubt and confusion. She referenced recent reports of voter suppression tactics, lawsuits aimed at overturning state election laws, and a relentless barrage of social media posts designed to erode public confidence. "This isn't just politics as usual," she insisted, her voice rising with emotion. "This is a direct attack on the right of every American to have their vote counted, their voice heard." The impact was immediate. Social media exploded with clips of Gonzalez's speech, hashtags trended, and pundits scrambled to analyze every word. Supporters hailed her as a truth teller, a defender of democracy willing to speak out when others remained silent. Critics, meanwhile, accused her of grandstanding, of stoking division at a time when the country desperately needs unity. But for many watching at home, the question was simple: is she right? Is the very foundation of American democracy under threat? To understand the gravity of Gonzalez's warning, we have to look at the broader context. The 2024 election cycle has already been marred by controversy, with both sides accusing each other of dirty tricks and underhanded tactics. But what Gonzalez described went beyond the usual mudslinging. She cited specific examples, court cases in battleground states' efforts to purge voter rolls, and a network of operatives working behind the scenes to challenge the legitimacy of mail-in ballots. Each detail added another layer to the story, painting a picture of a campaign that, in her words, will stop at nothing to win, even if it means tearing down the very institutions that make us who we are. The emotional core of Gonzalez's speech was her appeal to ordinary Americans. She spoke directly to viewers at home, her voice trembling with urgency. "This is not a game," she said. "This is your future, your children's future. If we allow this to happen, if we let fear and lies dictate the outcome of our elections, then we lose something that can never be replaced." Her words struck a chord, echoing the fears and frustrations of millions who have watched the political landscape grow more toxic and divided with each passing year. But Gonzalez didn't just point fingers, she offered a vision of hope. She called on her fellow Texans and all Americans: stand up for the values that define the nation: honesty, fairness, and the rule of law. She urged people to volunteer at polling places, to educate themselves about their rights, and to refuse to be intimidated by those who would silence their voices. "We are stronger than this," she insisted. "We are better than this, but only if we choose to be." As the press conference ended, the questions began. Reporters pressed Gonzalez for evidence, for specifics, for names. She responded with a mix of candor and caution, acknowledging the challenges of proving intent in a world where so much happens behind closed doors. But she was adamant. The pattern is clear. The danger is real, and we cannot afford to look the other way. The fallout was swift. Within hours, Trump's team issued a blistering response, dismissing Gonzalez's claims as baseless smears and accusing her of trying to distract from her own party's failures. Conservative media outlets rallied to Trump's defense, framing the controversy as yet another example of Democrats refusing to accept the will of the people. But for Gonzalez and her supporters, the fight was just beginning. In the days that followed, the story took on a life of its own. Town halls, filled with anxious voters, community leaders organized emergency meetings, and activists launched new campaigns to protect voting rights. The sense of urgency was palpable, as if the entire country was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Would Gonzalez's warning spark a movement, or would it be drowned out by the relentless noise of the news cycle? For many, the answer depended on what happened in Texas. The state, long considered a Republican stronghold, has become a battleground in recent years, with shifting demographics and changing attitudes reshaping the political landscape. Gonzalez herself, the daughter of immigrants, embodies this new Texas, a place where old assumptions are being challenged and new voices are demanding to be heard. Her willingness to confront Trump head-on has made her a hero to some and a villain to others, but no one can deny her impact. As the days turned into weeks, the debate only intensified. Congressional hearings were called, investigations launched, and the nation watched as the drama played out in real time. Gonzalez continued to speak out, refusing to back down in the face of threats and criticism. She appeared on national television, her message unwavering. We cannot let fear win. We cannot let lies win. We have to fight for the truth, no matter how hard it is. Behind the scenes, the stakes were even higher. Election officials reported an uptick in threats and harassment, fueled by conspiracy theories and misinformation. Volunteers at polling places described a climate of fear and suspicion, with some saying they were afraid to do their jobs. The sense of crisis was real, and it was growing. But amid the chaos, there were moments of hope. In cities and towns across Texas, people came together to defend their right to vote. Churches opened their doors to serve as polling places. Community groups organized rides to the polls, and neighbors checked in on each other to make sure everyone had a plan to cast their ballot. It was a reminder that, even in the darkest times, the spirit of democracy can still shine through. For Gonzalez, the fight was personal. She spoke often of her parents who came to the United States in search of a better life, and of the sacrifices they made so that she could have a voice. I owe it to them, she said, and to everyone who believes in this country, to stand up and speak the truth. Her words resonated with a generation of young voters who see themselves in her story, who believe that change is possible if they are willing to fight for it. As Election Day approached, the tension reached a fever pitch. Both sides mobilized armies of lawyers and volunteers, bracing for a showdown that would test the limits of the system. Gonzalez continued to sound the alarm, warning that the real danger was not just in the outcome of the election, but in the erosion of trust that could last for years to come. If we lose faith in our elections, she said, we lose faith in everything. In the end, the story of Maria Gonzalez and her battle against Trump's alleged election scheme is about more than just politics. It's about the power of one voice to spark a movement, the courage to speak out when it matters most, and the enduring belief that democracy is worth fighting for. Whether you agree with her or not, there's no denying the impact she's had on the national conversation and the questions she's forced us all to confront as the dust settles and the nation looks to the future. One thing is clear: the fight for democracy is far from over. The challenges are real, The threats are serious, but so too is the determination of those who refuse to give up. In the words of Gonzalez herself, we are the guardians of this democracy. It's up to us to protect it, to defend it, and to make sure it survives for generations to come. And as long as there are voices willing to speak the truth, the flame of democracy will continue to burn, no matter how fierce the storm.